An introduction to a strange situation occurs between life and death. A character named Erisim appears and suggests there is an important mission to end ongoing battles and bring positive change to the world. The goal is to help those suffering in conflict, though the specific details remain mysterious. A rescue situation unfolds with someone named Will O'Drive providing assistance. There seems to be memory loss involved. A volunteering mission must be completed, requiring careful navigation and teamwork. The group searches for something called Techie Abducta while trying to stay safe. A formal program begins for rehabilitating socially incongruent individuals. Someone has lost their memories while volunteering and must now undergo 1,000,000 years of education and rehabilitation. The process includes getting a new accessory partner and following strict protocols for social conformity. An introduction to a massive database system called Panopticon is provided. This system tracks all information about inhabitants through special observers. Living in this prison-like state is considered a crime, requiring inhabitants to work toward earning benefits and freedom through contribution. The rights and altitude system within Panopticon is explained. Inhabitants can earn various privileges by contributing to society. There are 8 levels of altitude, with higher levels providing better living conditions and more rights, currently starting at the lowest first altitude level. Details about contributing to Panopticon through volunteering are shared. The main activities involve recovering stolen resources and defending against enemy Panopticons. Resource competition between different Panopticons is fierce, as Earth has limited remaining resources. A new feature has been introduced to the Operation Settings options in the admin menu. The Regeneration Program completion has opened up applications for regular volunteering opportunities. Benefactor points earned through volunteer re-education can now be used to apply for volunteer participation rights through the Security Bureau. The current mission involves recovering Shubilium, a valuable human resource that was stolen by the Panopticon abductor. Shubilium is described as highly intelligent and crucial for human survival, considered more valuable than material resources. A large ecological wall is used for Shubilium transportation. Regular volunteering activities take place outside Panopticon using transport vehicles. Unlike elite volunteers who fight Mogi, regular volunteers can take damage from enemies. If defeated, volunteers can continue by using Kessenryok, but running out of it results in mission failure. A supervisor will accompany volunteers as a partner. Matthias introduces himself as the Educational Guidance Supervisor. The conversation reveals details about Panopticon, nicknamed BT, and civilians who are described as highly intelligent creators who get kidnapped by other BTs. The mission objective is to rescue these captured civilians within a time limit. The field operation involves hostile forces and dangerous abductors. When civilians are captured, targeting the detectives proves effective. The mission requires destroying detectives and rescuing civilians while collecting auxiliary weapons and medical supplies for support. Abductors can adapt their weapons based on battlefield conditions and objectives. Success requires quick assessment of their characteristics and appropriate tactical responses. The dialogue hints at future divine punishment and upcoming changes. Resource management is strictly regulated with severe punishments for violations under PT law. A tense interaction occurs with Natalia Ninewu from the Security Bureau, who oversees opportunists and enforces rules about everyday conduct. The Production Planning Bureau requires delivery of acquired resources, which are considered Panopticon assets. Volunteers can receive compensation for resource delivery, which improves GDPP, gross domestic product points, and affects the Panopticon's ranking among other facilities. New rights have been granted for contributions made. A Section 2 acquisition exercise has been issued, marking a special volunteer mission to obtain a second code. Success grants additional privileges, including freedom to move outside the cell. A civilian expresses deep gratitude for being helped earlier as a volunteer. The civilian mentions they would have never seen their spouse again if taken by another Panopticon. They offer to meet again in Zucker outside of Mosaic if needed. The Production Planning Bureau announces the successful completion of a second code acquisition. This promotion grants new privileges, including the ability to leave the cell. The individual is praised for adapting well despite memory loss and encouraged to continue contributing to the Panopticon. The second-level cell grants new rights, including potential release from solitary confinement under certain conditions. Information about requirements for acquiring the third code is provided, with details available through the accessory service system. New cell exit privileges come with strict regulations. All code submissions must go through the security agency via accessory. A person with blue eyes requested a meeting on Low Street, prompting a recommendation to submit an official exit application first. Strict rules govern Low Street interactions. Unauthorized contact with neighbors and getting within 2 meters of the opposite sex are prohibited offenses that result in extended prison time. These restrictions create frustration among residents until proper release rights are obtained. Important guidance is provided for first-time cell occupants about navigating the vast Panopticon. The field map system helps with location tracking, while the notification history feature allows review of past communications and announcements. Discussion turns to volunteer opportunities and mentions of Julian, a civilian who showed gratitude by visiting cells personally. The conversation highlights different civilian personalities and attitudes within the system. Conflict between Togabitos is described as a natural part of their world. A somewhat cynical view emerges regarding PT upper management treating them as disposable pieces, though this is quickly dismissed as a joke. The volunteer mission objectives are outlined. Recover and transport civilians to designated feeders within time limits. Teams must secure civilians before hostile forces can reach them, adding urgency to the recovery operations. Operations continue in Dakins with focus on remaining civilian extraction. Repeated updates maintain awareness of civilian presence in the area as rescue efforts proceed. In the town of Dakins, there are only 2 remaining civilians. This information is repeated multiple times, emphasizing its significance to the current situation. The limited civilian presence suggests this may be a controlled or restricted area. The location discussed appears to be some kind of training facility or controlled environment called PT. People have been raised there since birth, suggesting it's a long-standing institution. A welcome party for newcomers is being planned at a place called Gasoline, creating excitement among the residents. The Mosaic town serves as a safe haven where people can escape PT surveillance. Friends gather together, though some are absent. It's noted that this is the first meeting for several individuals. The atmosphere is welcoming and supportive despite the controlled environment. The welcome party becomes energetic as attendees are encouraged to let loose and have fun. Zach Ballin discusses combat strategies, suggesting the use of powerful weapons. This hints at the military or defense-oriented nature of the facility. Resource management is mentioned as a key consideration. The gathering focuses on PT contributions and teamwork, though enthusiasm drops when work is mentioned. Discussion turns to health concerns regarding artificial carbonated drinks mixed with annatto. Despite the strict environment, there's an emphasis on maintaining positive spirits and working for collective happiness. Key figures like Sergio and Ruby are introduced as mentors for newcomers. The conversation touches on personal growth and determination. There's mention of either rising to glory or falling to destruction, suggesting high stakes in their training or mission. Educational guidance is offered to those who can reach higher altitudes. The welcome party winds down and participants are instructed to return to their cells. The structure seems very regimented, with strict protocols about movement and activities. Medium speed is recommended for efficient contribution to whatever tasks lie ahead. A ghost story about Bio from Selgaden creates excitement. This leads to discussion of resource rewards for investigating rumors. The Cell Garden, a variable plot that's always moving, requires special passcodes for access. Information is treated as a valuable commodity that can be traded for resources. Access to certain areas becomes restricted despite supposedly having proper rights. The Security Bureau maintains strict control over movement. There is mention of a fraternity of outliers who handle weapons and resources in Falud, though involvement with them is discouraged. An introduction occurs between Carlos and others. Carlos mentions knowing Uwe for a long time and offers to help with accessing the Cell Garden by showing how to trick accessories. The conversation reveals that civilians can help modify accessories, specifically mentioning someone named Julian in Zucker who might be able to assist. The group discusses their plan to enter the Cell Garden, which is typically off-limits. Julian agrees to help modify accessories in exchange for collecting specific resources. The modification would allow them to temporarily bypass security through a memory tampering sequence called the mouth chuck system. Upon entering the mysterious room in the Cell Garden, the group encounters a dangerous situation with some kind of poisonous threat. Someone falls unconscious and needs help. The area appears to be highly sensitive and closely guarded, suggesting serious security implications. The group reconvenes to discuss what they discovered. They learn that the figure they saw was likely a Tenpei, a high-ranking soldier, rather than the rumored ghost. This raises questions about why such an important person would be detained there. Julian initially expresses reluctance to help further due to security risks and family concerns. However, moved by the group's determination, he eventually agrees to assist but warns that valuable resources will be needed. A volunteer mission is proposed to gather these resources. A volunteer mission begins with the goal of collecting specific resources while dealing with hostile forces. The mission involves combat and resource gathering within a time limit. Upon completion, new rights and functions are unlocked, including field map shortcuts. With the gathered resources, Julian creates a system to deceive sensors. The group prepares to infiltrate the Cell Garden again, despite increased security. They are warned about potential confrontations inside. The group executes their plan to enter the heavily guarded Cell Garden. Someone stays behind as lookout while others proceed inside. A confrontation occurs involving some kind of engine or power source, leading to a tense situation. A chaotic situation unfolds as monster-like creatures attack the power plant. Ubi and others are engaged in combat with these invaders while simultaneously preparing for a Mars mission. The immediate concern is protecting someone whose condition appears unstable. A contingency plan is revealed. A secure cell had been prepared in advance for emergencies. The situation requires immediate action as monsters from heaven have invaded the floor, prompting urgent evacuation and protection measures. The adjacent area faces a dangerous situation with rampaging celestial monsters. A fierce battle seems inevitable, but the current team is advised to retreat as they are not yet strong enough to handle this threat. The Strategic Management Department issues instructions regarding resource protection and combat items at the Production Bureau. This organization offers benefits for those who successfully protect these assets. The Production Planning Bureau announces positive news. A third code acquisition has been approved. This represents significant progress and opens up new opportunities for contribution to the cause. With the achievement of the third code, new rights become available. The system now includes access to customizable command sets and response voice sets, enabling more efficient contribution activities. A personal history reveals family drama involving parents who were favorists in heaven. After losing their mother, their father mysteriously left heaven for Earth 11 years ago, leading to a search that brought them to this location. The Panopticon, severely damaged by recent divine punishment, mandates all Togabedo to participate in reconstruction volunteer work. A volunteer letter has been issued to coordinate these restoration efforts. An engineering background is discussed, particularly focusing on Abracta-related work and Bilbo technology. There is excitement about the implementation of this technology in accessories, representing a significant advancement. A volunteer mission briefing outlines the objective, eliminating target objects within defined parameters. Multiple enemy defenses are reported approaching, requiring strategic responses. A promotion celebration is tempered by warnings about increased loss rates post-promotion. The advice emphasizes maintaining focus and avoiding reckless behavior despite unexpected situations. A brief exchange occurred where someone mentioned potentially meeting in the future. Following this, there was confirmation about someone's vitals recovering. Messages were received from multiple individuals, including Tonabedo Nachas, Leo, Bruno, Beatrice, Lily, and Anastasi, who were waiting at Roast Lint. A request was made to explore Mosaic Town, but this was interrupted by news of new volunteers arriving. The situation involved increasing activity from Horai forces, who were apparently taking advantage of power plant damage to cause blame. A new volunteer mission was proposed requiring cooperation. A discussion about PTs, presumably some kind of fighting units, revealed they fight for survival due to limited Earth resources. Someone expressed interest in seeing machines used outside of battle. The conversation shifted to personal motivations for fighting, with protection being emphasized as a key reason. Mission objectives were outlined: eliminate hostile forces and enemy Tonabedo within a specified time frame until enemy army and police forces are exhausted. Multiple reminders were given about continuing to eliminate enemy Tonabedo even after defeats. A tour began of various locations, including a place called Gasoline, described as an oasis of memories with excellent food. This was followed by introductions to various establishments and their unique characteristics, including a soft-serve ice cream celebration. A location called Zucker was introduced as an equipment shop with a supposedly scary owner. The owner demonstrated pride in their high-quality products and craftsmanship, welcoming visitors while maintaining strict standards. The Cell Garden was discussed as a significant location, described as more than just a scary place. It was noted as an area for finding resources, escaped PT surveillance, and contained discarded accessories and abductors. A mission to find someone named Don-san was proposed. A discovery was made about the Great Disappearance, an incident from 12 years ago where 3.5 million people vanished in just over 7 minutes at a PT called Naraikanai. This led to discussion about Heaven's role and human resources. A conversation begins about looking for someone named Vijo, with plans to first speak with Ue. The Eureternity group is desperately searching for a woman. The group decides to split up, with Beatrice going one way, while others plan to talk to Julian and Carlos before meeting at the plaza later. There are discussions about a rumored vision involving a woman who impressively dealt with an Eureternity person. Someone jokes about the vision actually being a man over 3 meters tall. The conversation reveals uncertainty about whether the vision is male or female. The scene shifts to volunteer assignments dealing with collapse forces, described as noisy rats. There is tension between groups who had previously fought, leading to discussion about volunteer duties and responsibilities. Discussion turns to the Hachirai faction's increased activity and its status as the most powerful PT. There is urgency to investigate the rumored vision before the situation becomes more chaotic. The focus shifts to escort volunteer duties protecting a Yugun abductor. The conversation moves to Rise sightings of a mysterious woman outside Mosaic. Matthias plans to investigate, while Beatrice has civilian volunteer duties to complete. There is excitement about meeting cute abductors and speculation about the mysterious vision. A tense confrontation occurs involving a mysterious girl, leading to discussions about freedom and proper behavior. The situation involves a soft-serve ice cream incident and attempts to get information from someone who remains silent. Instructions are given for base election volunteers, explaining rules about electing control systems on the battlefield within time limits. Multiple successful elections of control systems occur, with both friendly and enemy forces participating. A dramatic revelation occurs involving sisters Sylvia and Res, touching on themes of heaven, earth, and corruption. There is emotional conflict about persecution and dangerous ideas, leading to threats of future confrontation on the battlefield. Reports surface about heaven abductor sightings in the area. Messages arrive from the Central Remori Agency, leading to urgent orders and discussions about central government authority. The next segment introduces Jean Smith, a boss figure who helped with Beatrice's Togabido registration. They discuss an incident involving a Celestial Eye abductor and efforts to protect Beatrice's identity as a Celestial soldier. The conversation concludes with a request to bring resources to the fourth-floor cell garden. A battle commenced with the mission to save the planet. Some Siberians remained in Lakhanth that needed to be dealt with carefully. The Security Bureau Omrib was notified, and it was suggested to invest in support and battle items at the Production Bureau for additional benefits. An important notification came through about successfully passing the 4th Code Acquisition Instructor qualification. This achievement was praised as remarkable and opened up new privileges, including costume changes, body modifications, booster maintenance, and background customization options. Natalia Ninghu from Security requested an immediate report to Low Street. The Lemurian Panopticon was seeking defense volunteers. Elfrey de Cabrera was introduced as a senior member who offered guidance and mentorship despite initial reluctance to reveal their identity. The defense volunteers were split into 2 units with specific missions. One group, including Matthias and Beatrice, was tasked with intercepting enemy units. The defense of a critical position was crucial to prevent the defense line from collapsing. Multiple hostile forces were detected, requiring immediate defensive action. The situation remained tense with continuous enemy presence. After the confrontation, damage assessment revealed successful defense with minimal losses to friendly forces. Important intel was shared about Abel, described as Horai PT's strongest fighter with a dangerous artificial abductor called Red Rage. This ancient abductor possessed unique attack-nullifying capabilities that made it especially threatening in combat. Another mission briefing occurred with Natalia Ningwu, requesting anti-Horai force volunteers. Participation was mandatory, and Elfrey was assigned to provide additional support. The team prepared for deployment to the mission location. A series of operations involved countering Siberian forces. Multiple attempts were made to discourage and deport Siberian units. The friendly forces eventually succeeded in their objective despite initial setbacks. The next phase involved a meeting with Beatrice D. Anastasi, who was searching for information about their father, Cesare. The conversation revealed some personal details, but was interrupted by the arrival of new volunteer assignments. An intense conflict situation unfolds with hostile forces and an entity known as Siberian. Multiple reactions and responses are detected from both Siberian and an abductor. The situation appears tense with repeated attempts to collect and resend Siberian reactions. The conflict reaches its climax with Siberian getting defeated. The enemy abductor is also defeated. A new phase begins with attempts to surround and rescue what appears to be a new Siberian entity. The battle sequence concludes with the successful recapture of Ringnia Siberian. The scene shifts to a more personal interaction involving Trish and discussion about the Willow engine. Someone receives a rare part as a gift, leading to excitement about its scarcity. They share their mutual interest in machines and Willow Year abductor, which they affectionately call Abu-chan. The conversation turns to Elfreda's progress in battle skills, though there's some teasing about initial fear in first battles. This leads to playful banter and preparations for upcoming conflicts. Multiple hostile forces are detected, followed by pursuit actions from enemy abductors. Discussion shifts to family dynamics, particularly focusing on Elfried and Uwa's relationship. There's mention of Uwa's mixed feelings about his daughter becoming stronger. The scene transitions to interactions with Anne and her brother Haru, who got lost on Low Street. Attention turns to Elfride's impressive achievement of 63 consecutive wins in Royal Round Jump. Despite their young appearance, they've earned significant respect. Anne and Haru formally introduce themselves, leading to friendly interactions and potential training suggestions. Julian reveals interesting information about action recordings being stored in a secret compartment in the cell garden. This leads to discussion about old Trebito records and potential connections to Latrice's father, prompting investigation of these historical documents. Investigation reveals records about someone called Cesare and identifies 3 significant individuals: Remijo Kilowage, Kasumi Sato D, and a third person. Kasumi is notably registered as a criminal, residing in a 6th-floor cell with recent activity records. The situation shifts to a critical volunteer mission involving an Adaroku Kitan attack. This assignment represents an opportunity for live code promotion, emphasizing the importance of successfully defending against the threat while managing time constraints. The emergency volunteer mission commences with urgency. Despite concerns about family matters, focus remains on the immediate task. Multiple battle sequences begin as volunteers engage in coordinated efforts to address the threat. An exciting announcement was made regarding the achievement of obtaining the 5th code. This accomplishment came after making valuable contributions in defeating Lemuria Panopticon. The 5th code grants more important volunteer opportunities and increased responsibilities. Information was shared about accessing participation conditions for obtaining the 6th code through the Access service. This marks continued progression through the code system while working towards increasing overall happiness of Panopticon. Reports emerged about increasing attacks from collapse forces causing widespread damage. This prompted concerns about safety and led to suggestions to check on various community members to ensure their well-being during these challenging times. Discussion revealed that while individual enemy units were not overwhelmingly strong, their massive numbers posed a serious threat. Key figures like Abel and Red had not yet appeared in battle, suggesting they were conserving energy for future confrontations. An investigation uncovered details about a mysterious organization called Blank, operating within the Politburo. This secretive department, officially non-existent in records, was linked to Beatrice's erased records and appeared to be executing orders from senior management. An urgent mission was organized, splitting forces into Team Alpha and Team Bravo to rescue the 15th and 16th units. The operation required quick action and strategic withdrawal to minimize resource waste while facing concentrated enemy forces from Lemuria and Xanadu Panopticon. The battle situation deteriorated quickly with confirmation of General Kuban aboard Sereni. Team Alpha completed their volunteer mission and initiated their return despite challenging circumstances. A deeply emotional situation developed involving Anne, who was struggling with grief and anger over losing her brother in battle. Strong feelings of revenge emerged as she grappled with processing this devastating loss. A philosophical discussion about human regrets and choices unfolded, offering hope through Simon. The conversation suggested that despite past regrets, new opportunities for different choices would come, similar to Jazara's experience. A heartfelt conversation takes place about dealing with grief and loss. Someone expresses gratitude for support received during a difficult time, coping with their brother's death. While the pain of loss remains significant, they acknowledge the importance of moving forward with help from caring friends. The discussion shifts to concerns about military operations and rescue missions. A troubling situation is described where troops were wiped out during what appeared to be a territorial operation, suggesting possible strategic failures or betrayal. This leads to talk about volunteer forces and military responses. The conversation becomes more tactical, focusing on combat strategy and discipline. There is debate about proper approaches to winning battles and following orders. Some argue about removing horse feathers, while others emphasize the importance of protecting others and moving forward with purpose. A new mission briefing occurs regarding a surprise attack on the Agartha Panopticon base. The operation aims to disrupt enemy supply lines through volunteer efforts. Multiple participants report detecting hostile forces and abductor reactions while managing control systems. Plans are discussed for a volunteer operation involving Natalia and her group. The mission requires securing transportation routes while dealing with opposing forces. Though some express suspicion about the operation's details, they acknowledge its importance. A confrontation with Abel reveals mysterious plans involving a sheep that connects to someone named Simon. Abel speaks of leading humans and mentions the need for a chosen prisoner's soul and King Will's special power. The situation appears tense and significant. Details about Red Rage, a legendary artificial abductor, are shared. It's described as a primordial third-stage creation with unique capabilities including attack nullification and consciousness linking. The discussion highlights its historical significance and technological superiority. The conversation concludes with an important announcement about advancement opportunities. The group receives news about potential promotion to the 6th altitude level, marking a significant development in their progression. However, certain questions remain off-limits by order. An intense situation unfolds where instructions are given to stand down. Volunteers have already been deployed, and there are multiple reports of abductor reactions being detected. Someone mentions playing a black round and accessing a national mode. A notification arrives from the Production Planning Bureau regarding Daylock code acquisition results. After initially joking about failing, the candidate actually passed. This achievement will allow for greater contributions to the Panopticon, especially important given intensifying conflicts with Horai forces. The 6th floor cell announces new rights granted through Daylock code acquisition. Information is provided about participating as a Dynana code instructor. Details can be accessed through the company service portal. The focus remains on contributing to the Panopticon's prosperity. A complex interaction occurs involving Beatrice, who is revealed to be Cesara's daughter. She seeks information about her father and meets with Kasumi, who knew him from their younger days. They arrange to meet in the cell garden on the 6th floor to discuss more. An emotional revelation occurs as Beatrice discovers a recording of her father's voice. The message explains his departure to explore seeds and expresses love for his family despite leaving them behind. The recording device reaches the end of its lifespan during playback. The conversation reveals that the ongoing conflict has only intensified despite previous efforts. Questions arise about remote seeds and their purpose. The discussion wraps up with plans to reflect on the new information privately. critical information about sheep is discovered. These entities possess the power to distort space and time through special Vilmori basal lobes. The Great Disappearance incident at Narikan IPT occurred when attempts to weaponize sheep went wrong, resulting in total destruction. New intel emerges about Blank, an organization capturing Beatreacher. A separate database exists with restricted access. The location is identified in a secret area of the 6th floor cell garden, though heavily guarded by security forces. The mission concludes successfully, leading to data acquisition that requires further analysis. The team acknowledges their accomplishment and prepares to process the newly obtained information. An unusual encrypted data was discovered that warranted further investigation. The data would be taken home for more detailed analysis, with updates to follow if anything significant was found. Horai PT resumed operations and progressed to Nod PT, triggering a request for assistance. A team including Carlos was assembled for the mission, with volunteers already deployed and ready for action despite some apparent tension. An emergency message ordered the immediate halt of all volunteer activities on the water after the relief target was destroyed. It was speculated that Abel was responsible for this development, leading to a retreat order due to the high risk of encountering them. Concerns emerged about a potential information leak before the operation, as the ambushed rescue route was supposed to be top secret. This raised suspicions about a possible spy, though it remained just one of several possibilities being considered. Questions arose about the restricted cell garden on the 2nd floor, leading to tense exchanges about access rights and potential hidden activities. The involvement of engineers, particularly Civiglia, in unauthorized system access became a point of investigation. A warning was issued about potential spies operating nearby, with particular attention drawn to the Nog-T incident. The situation became increasingly complex, with suspicions mounting among various team members. Beatrice became a primary concern due to their status as a former Heavenly Soldier. The team grappled with trust issues while trying to avoid widespread suspicion. Central authorities began investigating Julian and other engineers. Jean, Julian's supervisor, stepped in to address the growing tensions. They emphasized the engineers' loyalty to Panopticon and identified Natalia Ninanun as the source of spy-related suspicions, attempting to maintain unity among the technical civilians. The scene begins with repetitive observations about a technical civilian being followed. This pattern continues for several minutes, suggesting either surveillance or monitoring of civilian movement within a controlled environment. A major achievement is unlocked with the acquisition of the 7th code. This grants new rights and privileges within the WAG Panopticon system. The community expresses hope and encouragement for continued contributions and dedication to their cause. A friend named Siberian Jean Swiss is waiting at Zucker location. Permission to leave must be requested through proper channels. Additionally, there is talk about blank data decryption and accessing a secret program in the cell garden on the 7th floor. Important revelations emerge about Beatrice and her connection to mysterious entities called sheep. These sheep emit special signals called Willow and were apparently responsible for destroying target facilities. Beatrice was under surveillance due to her unique Willow that could track these sheep. A security situation develops involving the discovery of spies working for Horai. Through careful planning and false information traps, an informant was identified but managed to escape and is now barricaded in an uninhabited section of the floor. A combat situation unfolds with hostile forces. Multiple attacks are carried out and completed with periodic safety confirmations. Forces are warned about potential abductor threats in the area. The captured spy makes references to someone named Abel and their ideal world. The spy attempts to spread propaganda to residents, suggesting allegiance to a larger organization or movement. The revelation that Jean was working as a spy for All-Right PD comes as a shock to colleagues. The team is instructed to stay focused on their primary mission of maintaining Panopticon security, with plans to investigate Jean's laboratory for additional information. An urgent situation unfolds as it is discovered that Jean has been sending Firelink data and strategy details to the Holy Panopticon, where Abel is located. The data was specifically being sent to someone named Beatrice, who appears to be crucial to opening the Firelink using a special Willow ability. The true purpose of Firelink's Willow emissions is revealed. It was searching for the one person who could open a mysterious door. Abel discovered this connection to Beatrice, making her a person of significant interest and potential danger. There is now an urgent need to secure her location. A tense confrontation occurs with Beatrice, who is asked to perform a special volunteer task that only she can do. Before the details can be discussed fully, the situation takes a dark turn when Beatrice appears to be captured or taken away against her will. The Holy Panopticon now has possession of both the sheep and Beatrice, who is the key to opening it. This creates a dangerous scenario where they could potentially trigger a great disappearance event, similar to what destroyed the Draconian Panopticon. Their first target would likely be our Panopticon. Julian and Beatrice had been developing weapons to combat Red Rage, focusing on its seemingly impenetrable armor. The armor uses a special Willow particle state called Armitage condensation that creates a negative pressure density field, making it immune to normal attacks. A breakthrough comes in the form of a modular weapon that can resonate with Red Rage's force field, finally making it vulnerable to damage. While this is exciting news, there is a resource shortage limiting how many can be produced. A collection effort begins to gather necessary materials. An all-out offensive against the Holy Panopticon is planned. The primary objectives are to defeat Abel and prevent the use of sheep as weapons of mass destruction. Beatrice must be rescued as she is essential to the strategy. The team is encouraged to prepare thoroughly for this final battle. The situation becomes critical as it's discovered the seal on the coffin has already been broken using Beatrice's power. Abel's true intentions are revealed. Rather than simply causing destruction, they plan to unleash ancient monsters sealed behind the coffin to turn the world into a battleground. A strong commitment is made to end violence and fighting, repeated multiple times with conviction. This powerful declaration represents a turning point towards seeking peace instead of conflict. During a dangerous situation, defensive measures had to be taken. Caution was advised to everyone involved. The field of vision became limited, and there was a sense of weakness and defeat in the air. A significant revelation occurs regarding a new world and paradise. There are mentions of sheep and wishes coming true, along with references to a place called Purgatory. The mood is both hopeful and mysterious. An extended period of calls for volunteer contributions begins. This represents a unified effort to gather support and participation from the community for an important cause. The arrival of Sylvia marks a key moment. Discussions about heaven and cleaning up take place. There are promises made about meeting at the sheep entrance and protecting each other. The real door to meet Simon is revealed. The scene shifts to Purgatory, described as a place where people await awakening. Time moves differently here compared to the surface world. Simon has been waiting for someone who can bring about change. Two special gifts are presented: a weapon that converts human thoughts into power and the ability to create doors connecting different realms. These tools are meant to help stop ongoing conflicts. Emotional reunions occur as people express relief at finding others alive. There are mentions of divine punishment operations beginning soon. Sylvia makes an important decision about staying or leaving. Instructions are given about special seeds from Simon that need to be planted to grow sheep. These must be planted in areas with dense willow energy, away from prying eyes. The seeds are an improved breed version. Updates about the Gurai Panopticon battle and its aftermath are shared. The Bug Panopticon offers support while acknowledging that they face many enemies. Continued contributions are requested for their future. Detailed instructions are provided about finding locations with thick willow concentration. The abandoned cell garden section, deep in the PT, is identified as a suitable spot, accessible through a special passcode. Gratitude is expressed for past help and support. Reflections on personal growth and overcoming obstacles are shared. Questions arise about mysterious weapons and meetings with important figures. A journey begins as something starts moving, creating anticipation and nervousness. A special door opens, revealing a mysterious new location suitable for planting the seeds. The discovery of sheep and a special door marks a crucial moment. However, access is restricted to those approved by Simon. Despite having many questions and desires, some barriers cannot be crossed. A pivotal moment occurs as someone realizes the consequences of selfish actions. They exchange reassuring messages about being fine, including mentions of Sylvia, before departing together. 4 distinct paths are presented as choices. The first involves combat without evil. The second focuses on world maintenance and survival with friends. The third offers the chance to change past events. And the fourth involves cooperating to overthrow heaven. A touching scene unfolds as someone expresses having no regrets about their choices. They make heartfelt requests regarding Sylvia and Beatrice, acknowledging they have committed their existence to changing the world. A family conversation takes place where siblings discuss their father. They express determination to work hard together and maintain hope about reuniting with their father in the future, showing strong family bonds. An urgent military situation is described involving a conflict with heaven. Volunteers are being recruited for a dangerous mission against divine punishment, with warnings about potentially inaccurate intelligence information. A series of military operations unfolds with repeated commands to occupy repelling forces. The situation intensifies as damage rates exceed negative values, causing temporary operational stops. Administrative procedures are mentioned regarding production planning requirements and staff selections, marking a transition to more bureaucratic matters. Dravito receives recognition for completing a significant milestone, ending a million-year boom. They are awarded second-class civilian status in the Panopticon, which comes with certain rights and privileges. The scene concludes with discussion about room arrangements and accommodations for second-class civilians, suggesting a new chapter beginning in improved living conditions compared to previous cell-like quarters.